Okay, let's have a look and see. Imagine church with no cobwebs, wooden pews, hymn books, overhead projector, leaking roof. That's where I'm right now, the church that exists entirely online.
The passage we have just heard has been described by some commentators as one of the most important transitions in the Old Testament.
St. Pixel's Church of the Internet tells me that I can discover, interact, blog, discuss, reflect, worship.
Nature, technology.
Online, you can now find every kind of religious activity, from interactive services like this one to worship fed through webcams and sites which invite you to take part in sacraments. You can go to Holy Communion or have your confessions heard, get married and be baptized on the web.
Criterion for me of, good religion and bad religion on the internet is whether it makes people more isolated and turned in on themselves, or whether it encourages people to reach out to others.
Second Life has a synagogue, and you can wander around the Second Life world, go to synagogue. I'm not sure it's profound, but it's there.
Cyber world, simulations, cyber chat rooms, that's a very important extension of the imagination.
Is the internet enriching our spiritual life and supporting traditional faith groups by connecting them globally? Or is online religion replacing, indeed threatening, the very core of formal religious beliefs and changing religion forever?
As soon as the web was developed and became accessible, people were using the web for religious expression, for religious conversation, and so forth. So it was one of the first uses of the web.
Professor Brenda Brasher specializes in the sociology of religion at Tulane University.
It was not formal, organized religion that went online first. There were religious innovators that were exploring the potential of it long before it became commercialized, before banks got involved, before even the governments formally got involved.
In the early days, when the internet was a resource available to only research students in universities, Professor Brasher was curious about how this new technology would be used by religious groups.
The first people that I saw go online were the neo-pagan community. They went online first in the most creative ways. They were very interested in the possibility of this being a kind of exploration of cyberspace as sacred space. They were followed quickly by evangelical Christians. These people are principally motivated by an interest in conversion and spreading the word. And so anything that offers an opportunity to communicate that message is going to be of interest to people who have this sort of core commitment of evangelizing.
The internet has been a godsend, really, for paganism, one way or another.
Mog Morgan, you're the secretary of the Oxford Golden Dawn Occult Society. Now, paganism is an incredibly broad term and means different things to different people. So could you describe to me the pagan tradition that you follow?
For me, paganism is a revival of the religion of the classical world.
So what's the relationship between paganism and the internet?
Whenever you've got a minority religion, they always find it quite difficult to connect, to organise. The internet has been a great democratising force in that, to bring people together and then organise rituals and meditations and celebrations of the seasons. It's a hugely useful way of facilitating that.
I believe you're going to show me a site that is found in Second Life.
Indeed, we're going to go on Second Life and we're going to have a quick exploration of the pagan world of virtual reality.
Great.
Hopefully this works.
Second Life is a virtual reality website used by millions of people all over the world. It enables users to create an alternative cyber reality for themselves on the internet.
That's a representation of the Egyptian temple as it existed 6,000 years ago. It's the very, very first Egyptian temple.
Whole worlds are created. You can do anything in Second Life. For Mog Morgan, it's an opportunity to pursue his religious interest via his alter ego, called an avatar.
This is Mog Wayne.
This is a man dressed in black with a crucifix
It's an
around
ankh. It's an ankh.
It's an
The
ankh.
Egyptian
Okay,
ankh.
Egyptian ankh. Forgive me. And he's in a temple. So you would literally go online. There'll be other pagans there.
Behind this door is a secret shrine.
70,000 other cyber surfers were in Second Life with us. Not all of them pursuing religious experiences, but every faith is represented there.
Only priests can enter this shrine, right? So that kind of fits with the Egyptian religion that we're reconstructing, because we're sort of...
And Second Life is just one example of how people use cyberspace as sacred space, facilitating transcendence and experiencing another world.
And then we purify ourselves in the waters of the Nile.
So you're walking through this bottom chamber now and into a purification pool. But the great thing about it being a cyber reality is you don't actually get wet, because you're walking through the purification chamber here, not a drop of water on your character, which is convenient. And what are you going to do now?
Well, there are certain prayers that I would say. I'd make some offerings. And having memorized the ritual, I can then use that ritual form as part of a real meditation. So it's the real life and the virtual life, they kind of intersect.
I saw your character walk through the water, stand close to a fire, kneel down and pray, but you never felt anything. I mean, it's all disembodied, isn't it? You can't really count this as real religious practice, can you?
You can still learn from things. I mean, it might depend upon your level of what they call dissociation. Some people will kind of experience these things as real experiences, and some people will know it's just like they know a dream is just a dream, or a memory is just a memory, but it will still have an impact on them. And they still know that they can learn something from that. But yeah, no, you're right. Keep it in perspective.
The internet facilitates personal exploration of religious experiences. Fine if you're a pagan, it's a non-hierarchical, non-dogmatic faith. But what about the hierarchical, formal, established religions? Brenda Brasher again.
At the level of sort of formal hierarchies, there was a fair amount of skepticism around the internet as a place where religious organizations should maintain some sort of official presence. But within a number of religious streams, there were younger, innovative lay people who thought of this as a very interesting and novel way they could express their beliefs, create new platforms. And so you had tensions within formal organized religion around the internet. I would say that that learning curve for religious leaders was fairly short, and they very quickly began to grasp that this was the global image of their organization that was being constructed via the web, and they began to take a much more serious interest in terms of what was actually put on the web under the name of their religious group.
Religious content on the web became mainstream. The hierarchies were aware that the internet was becoming people's first port of call for information, and they soon realized that their web presence was more than an online information tool. It was a way of branding their faith in a global context.
I would say even 5 to 10 years ago, people thought the internet would not have any effect whatsoever on the news, that it was just a fad. Now, the major newspapers are all placing the internet at the forefront of their strategic thinking about the future of distributing the news. The same thing will happen with the church, I think.
Professor Will Dutton, you're the director of the Oxford Internet Institute. Out of the office window, you can see the Martyrs' Memorial, the memorial to the 16th century martyrs, Cranmer, Latimer and Ridley, who were all burnt for their part in the Reformation, and they used the printing press in order to get their ideas across, and it was considered revolutionary. Could the internet be as revolutionary for religion in terms of enabling people to access ideas which some perceive as dangerous and use those ideas to challenge the way they understand their religion to be operating?
Well, I think decades or centuries from now, it could well be that people view the internet as significant as the printing press. It certainly, in its early era, was a one-to-many media, so that it enabled the Bible to be read by many more people than otherwise would have been exposed to it.